Interstate 75 runs through central Florida, a route for millions of tourists each year. Aileen Wuornos, who is better known as Lee, was just a drifter of 16 when she first came down to Daytona Beach. The I-75 was a highway Lee Wuornos knew well. She worked it as a prostitute, hitching rides from exit to exit. She claimed to have had thousands of men over the years. Then between 1989 and 1990, she murdered 7 men. The FBI labeled Lee Wuornos America's first female serial killer, and since then the book and movie deals poured in. Many people were surprised that Lee Wuornos' girlfriend, Tyria Moore, once a prime suspect herself, was not charged. Before their arrest, police were hunting for 2 women, popularly referred to as the Angels of Death.
Serial killings seem to have become a brutal fact of life. Tragically, they happen so often, they sometimes take on a horrible familiarity. But there's one string of murders unlike any you've ever heard about. First there was Ted Bundy, then the Gainesville murders. And now Central Florida is being threatened with news of yet another round of serial killings. 8 men have been shot to death in cold blood on Central Florida highways, including the busy tourist route of I-75. But this time, there's an even more chilling twist to the slayings. Police say for the first time in criminal history, these killers may be murdering with a feminine touch. The main suspects are 2 young women who play damsels in distress along the roadway.
On January the 9th, 1991, Lee Wuornos was arrested at the Last Resort Biker Bar in Daytona Beach. This is the original police video of Lee Wuornos confessing to the murder of 7 men. Tyria Moore, her girlfriend, was not charged.
I wish I never got that gun. I wish to God I never would have hit my hooker. I just wish I never would have done what I did. I still have to say to myself, I still say that it was a self-defense. Because most of them either were going to start to beat me up or were going to screw me in the ass. You know, I'm paying when you don't ask you and they get rough with me. So I fight them and I get away from them. And then as I get away from them, I run to the front of the car or jump over the seat or whatever, grab my gun and just start shooting. Which they would be out of the car. Most of them would be nude because they took the clothes off. And they didn't think about running back in the car or anything. I would start shooting out from out of the car. Shoot out.
Hi, boys and girls.
This is Steve Glazer, Lee's lawyer.
When I was a child, I was abused by my parents, and I developed an imaginary friend. And I built him. Now, Lothar is the protection that I don't have. My dog died, so I keep Lothar out here to keep the drug addicts away from the house.
And you made Lothar yourself?
Made him out of my own... I made him out of my own 2 hands. I built him.
Steve and Lothar lived in a teepee together for several years.
Let's see.
This is Steve's office. Before he became a lawyer, Steve worked as a musician. He once opened for Leon Redbone. We're driving with Steve to meet Aileen Wuornos, who adopted Lee Wuornos last year. Aileen, a born-again Christian, lives on his 35-acre horse farm, where she breeds Tennessee Walker horses.
The wolves. Oh, she breeds wolves too? Yeah.
My main problem so far is that Steve and Aileen have told me that Lee wants $25,000 for the interview. I'd always thought that the Son of Sam law prevented people from profiting from their crimes, but apparently the Son of Sam isn't in effect anymore. Last year, Aileen employed Steve to handle her adoption of Lee Wuornos.
Nick Broomfield.
Hi, Nick.
Very pleased to meet with you.
I missed
Arlene
you.
Praley.
How do you do? How do you do?
Do you know she has our name? Her legal name is Aileen Wuornos Praley.
Oh, really? Because you adopted her last.
And changed her name. Yeah.
There must be a real bond between... How were you aware that there was such a strong bond between you? What made you first feel that?
It's a neat story, but I can't tell you. But the one thing I can tell you is our in-laws have since...
Arlene was
legally
refusing to
disowned
talk
us.
until her daughter Lee got paid the $25,000.
My husband and myself, yes. That was okay to say, right? But as far as me and Lee and how we got together, no, I can't start it, because you see, I get so excited when I talk about it that I'll start heading just into one hurdle, which Steve would say, okay, you could go over one hurdle, but then I can't stop. It's like a horse that loves to jump, and when I talk about her, I love her and I keep going.
I told you it's a fascinating story because of the way all the characters in the play here are just so very interesting. It's
My doctor in Gainesville would probably even be willing for you to interview him. He is a surgeon. And when I had my accident last year on April the 14th, it was horrible. I mean, I got kicked in the back. It lacerated my liver and broke 3 ribs. They thought I was going to die. And my doctor said it was the love of God going through me as a channel toward Aileen Wuornos that saved my life. They said I was going to die, but the love that I had so much for her and knew she couldn't be alone pulled me through. They all said I was going to die. They beat my husband. He was out in Las Vegas at a convention, and I pulled through. So, I mean, there's a lot to this that just, it's, like he says, fascinating.
So the next stage is really to come up with a counteroffer.
no, the next stage is to come up with $25,000.
Right.
But okay. Well, then
do
if
a
you don't, then the
counteroffer.
next thing to do is to really get a counteroffer, and let's tell
we'll
her something,
express it
okay?
out to her today.
Because this way, like I told you before you left, I said, please don't come here with the understanding. I was perfectly honest with you. Don't come here with the understanding that she'll even talk with you without paying. I told you that.
Okay, and so we would basically then pay the money to, well, we'd pay money to you or to, as her legal.
As her mom, and then Steve gets a percentage as our agent.
Right.
Very tiny percentage. This poor man works for nothing.
In fact, Arlene and Lee's relationship is extremely well documented, and it seemed far cheaper at this stage to buy in some local TV footage.
Levy County horse farm owner Arlene Praley has come to the aid of accused serial murderer Aileen Wuornos. Praley says she and Wuornos speak on the phone to each other frequently.
We have become super good friends ever since then. She is a beautiful woman. She's not at all like the media has portrayed her to be. She's very kind, compassionate. She's got a heart of gold.
This Thanksgiving should be a special one for the Praley family, because this year they hope to be with their newly adopted daughter. But she isn't a newborn. She's 35-year-old Aileen Wuornos.
Her eyes, there was just something about her eyes that before we ever knew her, there was something that deep within me said she is not capable of doing what they are accusing her of doing.
Over the next few weeks, a strange friendship blossomed, with both women exchanging daily letters, phone calls, and even poetry. In one poem, Aileen wrote, "You are way too kind to get to know my kind of mind."
I felt like I had known this person forever. And that was the weirdest feeling to me because I've never experienced that before. There are times when I'm there and she's so sad. And I know if I could just hold her and pray over her, it would pick her up. It would make her feel better. It would give her hope. And to not be able to do that at this point, it's about driving me nuts.